Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Jenn Tran rethinking Jonathon Johnson romance after DWTS premiere. Since Devon Strader broke Jenn Tran's heart on The Bachelorette, fans have been begging for her and Jonathon Johnson to get together. He finished third on her season and everyone is really shipping them together. They have spent lots of time together since she landed in Los Angeles to compete on Dancing with the Stars. Jonathon was front and center during premiere night to cheer Jenn on. Is there something going on between them? She is spilling the tea. Keep reading to find out more. Is Jenn Tran dating Jonathon Johnson? Rumors have been flying since the Bachelorette finale aired, and Jenn Tran flew to California for Dancing with the Stars. She and Jonathon Johnson stirred up rumors when they began sharing TikToks together. Since then they have made public outings together, and he was even in the front row cheering her on for the big premiere Tuesday night. Now, people caught up with Jenn to get the scoop if things have changed between her and Jonathon. While Jonathon would be on board with dating Jenn again, she is not there yet. She said, "Honestly, Jonathon's been such an amazing friend of mine, and so great to have someone here in LA to support me and be such a rock for me. And my heart's just, right now, not in the space to date anybody, let alone Jonathon." She added, "But I'm just so excited to see where our friendship goes." What do you think she meant by that last statement? For his part, Jonathon has said if she asked him out he would say yes. He's open to the possibility of seeing where things could go. She's thankful for support. Bachelorette Jenn Tran also gushed about how happy she is to have support from Bachelor Nation. She has support all around from alums to fans. Jenn hoped she would have left the show with a reliable fiancé. However, it didn't work out how she would have liked. Even though she doesn't have a man, she does have tons of friends who are offering her non-stop support. Susie Evans was even on deck for the big Dancing with the Stars premiere to cheer on and support Jenn. Jenn also gushed that she went to the dancing competition hoping to have a good partner and ended up with a best friend. Jenn has been dancing with Sasha Farber. What do you think about Jenn and Jonathon? Could something heat up between them? Jenn Tran sat in her dressing room, the dull hum of excitement from the Dancing with the Stars premiere still buzzing in her ears. The scent of hairspray and makeup lingered in the air, but it was her thoughts that felt the most chaotic. Tonight, the world saw her and Jonathon Johnson as partners on the dance floor, two celebrities thrown together in a whirlwind of sequins and samba routines. What the world didn't know, however, was that this wasn't the first time their lives had intertwined. Jonathon Johnson. The name rolled through Jenn's mind like a song she couldn't shake. They hadn't spoken in years, not since they both stood at the edge of something that could have been beautiful, yet never materialized. Timing, schedules, life, everything had conspired to keep them apart. And now, here they were, thrust together on one of the biggest stages in television. It was as if fate, ever the trickster, had decided to give them another chance. The premiere had gone off without a hitch. Their first dance was smooth, filled with the sort of chemistry that sent social media buzzing. Fans adored them as a pair, and why wouldn't they? Jenn, with her razor-sharp wit and luminous smile, and Jonathon, all rugged charm and deep, brooding eyes, looked perfect together. But beneath the glittering surface, Jenn was grappling with emotions she hadn't anticipated. As Jenn sat down at her vanity, she stared into the mirror, her reflection betraying none of the turmoil she felt inside. This was supposed to be a fun experience, a light-hearted adventure in dance, but already it felt more complicated than that. The way Jonathon had looked at her during rehearsals, the way his hand lingered on her waist a moment longer than necessary, sent shivers down her spine. She had always wondered what it would feel like to be that close to him again. Now she knew. But did any of this mean something more, or was it all just for the cameras? Jenn wasn't sure, and the uncertainty gnawed at her. There was a knock at the door. Jenn's heart skipped a beat. "Come in," she called, trying to sound casual. Jonathon stepped inside, still in his rehearsal gear, his shirt clinging to him from the sweat and exertion of the night. He gave her that lopsided grin, the one that used to make her heart race. "Hey, I just wanted to check in. How are you feeling after the premiere?" Jenn smiled, though it felt a little forced. "Good. I think we did all right, don't you?" Jonathon shrugged, leaning against the doorframe. "You were incredible. You always are." Jenn felt her pulse quicken. There it was again, that easy charm. That way he had of making her feel like she was the only person in the room. It was intoxicating but also dangerous. She had built walls over the years, walls that protected her from this kind of uncertainty, from the kind of vulnerability she had sworn to avoid after their almost relationship. She leaned back in her chair, folding her arms. "You think the fans are going to buy it? The whole chemistry thing?" Jonathon raised an eyebrow, clearly surprised by her sudden shift in tone. "What do you mean?" Jenn hesitated, then sighed. "I mean, the producers are obviously hoping we'll be the couple everyone roots for. The on-screen romance that gets people talking. You and me, reigniting old flames and all that." Jonathon's smile faded, and he crossed the room, sitting on the edge of the vanity. "Jenn, this isn't just for show. At least, not for me." Her breath caught in her throat. She had been bracing herself for some kind of flirty response, something playful and non-committal. But Jonathon's expression was serious, almost vulnerable, and it threw her off balance. She stood up, pacing the small dressing room. "Jonathon, we can't just—" "What?" he interrupted, his voice soft but firm. "We can't just what? Talk about what happened between us? Or what didn't happen?" Jenn spun around to face him. "It's been years. We've both moved on, haven't we?" Jonathon's eyes didn't leave hers. "Have we?" Silence hung between them, heavy and charged. Jenn had spent so long convincing herself that whatever she'd felt for Jonathon back then was a fleeting thing, something that belonged to a different time. But now, standing in front of him, she wasn't so sure. "We're dance partners," Jenn finally said, her voice quieter now. "That's what this is, just dance partners." Jonathon stood and closed the distance between them, his hand brushing lightly against her arm. "We're a lot more than that, Jenn. We always have been." Jenn felt her resolve weakening. She wanted to pull away, to maintain the distance she had carefully cultivated over the years. But there was something about Jonathon that made her want to forget all the reasons why she shouldn't. "You don't know what you're asking for," Jenn whispered, her voice betraying the conflict raging inside her. Jonathon's gaze softened, and he gently took her hand. "Maybe I do. Maybe I've always known." Jenn looked down at their intertwined fingers, her mind racing. Could they really go back? Could they rewrite the story they'd left unfinished all those years ago? Or was this just another chapter in their complicated history that would end in heartbreak? "I'm scared," she admitted, her voice barely audible. Jonathon stepped closer, lifting her chin so she was looking into his eyes. "I'm scared too, but sometimes the things that scare us the most are the things we need to face." Jenn felt a lump rise in her throat. This wasn't how she had expected things to go tonight. She had been prepared for rehearsals, for the chaos of the live show, for the stress of being judged. But she hadn't been prepared for this, for Jonathon to walk back into her life and make her question everything she thought she knew. "Can we take it slow?" Jenn asked, her voice shaky but resolute. Jonathon smiled, a warmth in his eyes that she hadn't seen in a long time. "As slow as you need." And just like that, the distance between them melted away, replaced by a connection that felt deeper than anything they had ever shared on the dance floor.